Okay, so after you've gotten your signatures punched and your leather is punched, go ahead and align everything, tap it down to the spine, and on one of the edges, make sure that your holes generally align. You can really knock things off if you aren't paying attention to, you know, how the book was aligned in the first place. Okay, and so this is going to be my bottom. When you're selecting your thread, there's thread that is in the bookmaking thread drawer, and it is in smaller spools about that big, and it's pre-waxed. Some of you have already used it for other projects. This is the thread that you want to use when you're binding leather. And so you're going to go ahead and get that on your needle. I've measured out probably significantly more than I need, but I've got 7 signatures, and overall, it runs the entire length of my, the height of my spine. And so I'm going to measure out a heavy. So this is what heavy means. You know, it's not here to here. I've got, you know, a healthy amount on either end to make sure. So that's 1 length, 2 lengths, 3 lengths, 4 lengths, 5 lengths, 6 lengths, 7 lengths, and even just a little bit extra to be sure. Thread your needle, and to start, you are going to make a knot. Now, some tutorials will tell you to, you know, double your thread with the thread that we're using. If you do use this, it is strong enough. You are not going to need to do that. And you want to do a double knot. I usually work from the front or the back to the front. So I'm getting my last signature. I'm opening it up. At my bottom hole, I go out from the center of the signature to the back of the signature and pull that thread all the way through until my knot hits it. And then I'm going to find my first hole in my leather. Oops. And then you want to pull all of that thread through until it seats right in. Ultimately, you want to get it tightened up, but don't worry about getting it too tight at the moment. Okay, so now we're on the outside. And you're going to move up. This is where it's very similar to the stab binding. Move up to my hole on the outside of the spine. And then I'm going to go into the pull the thread all the way through first. Make sure that, you know, as you pull the thread tight, you know, are things lined up? Are they where they're supposed to be? Do you have a little bit on the top, the head and the tail of your cover? Open up to the center of that signature, and you're going from the back into the center again. Oops. It's all a little loose and unwieldy until you're able to, you know, start sewing back down, but do try to, you know, just give it some tugs. You don't want to pull it so hard that you're pulling the knot through. And that is why we double knot this. It's, you know, unless your holes are really big, it's hard to pull that through. And so up to the next hole. And go back to the cover and go out. First hole there. Pull it. Going in. If you're having trouble seeing your hole, depending on what side of the leather you're using, you can certainly flip. It seems to be easier, at least for me, to be able to see the holes on the leather side and not the suede side. And so, you know, at one point or another, you're going to be stitching from either side. So know how to find your holes if it's difficult to see them. Again, lay it flat, give it a tug, and now I'm going in. Into the center again. Okay. And now this is the moment that you really want to give it a nice tug. And then you are going to start sewing back like we did with the stab binding. Try not to sew through the thread. It can be difficult. And try to keep finding the holes. Sometimes, you know, it can be rather easy with the pointy needle to actually punch new holes in the leather. But if your goal is to have this line be consistent, you really want to find those holes again and not create new ones. Pull it nice and tight.